All right, let's see if I can do this fast, and I want to do it fast because it's just like a waste of brain cells. Um, so I saw in the shade room, Brittany Renner and Fresh and Fit had a back and forth. DJ Academics facilitated it. The clip that I saw from the shade room, I was like, okay, like whose spot is this? Because it clearly wasn't the Fresh and Fit zone. And I looked at one of the comments, and the comment said, what did it say? Something to the effect of, you gotta be ready or something when you go, or it's not their platform or something like that. Just highlighting the fact that they don't have control, over the platform, and that's the whole disadvantage of doing shit live because anything can go down and anything can be said, and the more ridiculous or expose or people catch you, off guard, the more it's going to get all type of views, and that's the theater that people like. Um, but I went, reminded myself. I said, let me go look at the clip. Like I know it's got to be up. If it's on the Shade Room, it's got to be on YouTube. YouTube's the biggest platform, so it's got to be up there. So I click on it, and then I discover I'm like, oh, it was DJ Academics. So DJ Academics, he repost a shorter clip of the video, which basically only has Brittany Renner responding, like the way it's cut, which is just like silly to me. I'm like, but then so I go and I look at the hour long. It's like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that, and I skip through it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and I stop it when Fresh and Fit are replying and saying what they're saying. And there's a couple things that are getting me, and I'm really starting to see it. A lot of people have already pointed this out in my last video. I pointed it out, but like people were, they were really focused on the fact that they're non-ADOS. And the whole African American gender conversation is about ADOS people. You know what I mean? Freaking Myron, which is like his AKA, like what he goes by, his American westernized name. But like you go on, like not only did people write into my comment section, but you go online and you type in Myron Gaines, and then what comes up is Amaru Fadil or some shit like that. And people are saying he's Sudanese. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, see, this is the whole problem with all of you non-ADOS people in these conversations. First off, why are you even in these conversations? Because I understand you grew up in the West and everything else like that, but you don't have these problems. You have a home base. I see foreign guys do this shit all the time. Oh, she's too Western. I will go home and I will go back to Nigeria and go to the village and find me a woman. Right? I got a Pakistani friend. You know what I mean? He married a freaking Pakistani American woman. Their shit didn't work out. Got a divorce. And then he's talking about, I'm gonna go back to Pakistan. I'm gonna go back to Lahore. I'm gonna go to Karachi, and I'm gonna go find me a chick from the village. Even though Karachi is like a major city, but I'm saying like they want to go and find one of these village chicks that don't know anything, and they can get them to fall in line with patriarchy. Hey, look at me, I provide, I have resources, I bring you to America, and come be with me, and that's what they do. And I'm sitting there. I don't know what's the other boy's background. The dark skinned boy. I don't know whatever his name is. I don't care. Like I don't watch their shit. You know what I mean? And I get kind of irritated because for several reasons. Like number one, their shit is all over the place. Just like Kevin's stuff is all over the place. But see, the thing is like, it's like their points are not their original talking points. You know what I'm saying? Like even and people have told me, and yes, I saw the clip. Even Kevin Samuels, he gave me a shout out, in one of his clips. And I'm saying, I hear a lot of, my talking points, Captain Solo's talking points in, the conversation. And, Kev, what I like about Kev is Kev adds to it. And then again, the women are calling in his show, and then they can't run away. And then, he'll add to it. And everybody has their own style. And he takes it off in another direction. Like he's got like the base and he takes off in another direction. On top of the fact, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I already know that I wouldn't be saying if it wasn't for Captain Solo. You know what I'm saying? Captain Solo has years on me. He's got more experience than me. Kevin Samuels, you know, who was around the same age as Cap, has more experience. So there's going to be certain things that, you know, I would never just come up on my own, but like the back and forth of Cap and I talking and I challenging him and him challenging me, like that's how we got into, you know, the conversations and breaking shit down. Because trust me, there's a lot of times where I give pushback on some of the things that Cap says, you know, especially with the aspect that, we're separated by many years. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, you know, I get him to realize certain things that have changed and, you know, cultural things and, you know, those sorts of things. And he'll take it and he'll think about it and it'll stir in his brain and then he'll challenge me. And so, but I'm saying we move back and forth like that in the conversation. But what I see from Fresh and Fit is, I mean, it's like to me, it just looks like a combination of Kevin Samuels, Rich Cooper, and Better Bachelor. And Rich Cooper and Better Bachelor are two white guys. You know, and to me, I'm looking at this shit like this is all a finesse. You know, it's like anybody can get on, hey, we're going to teach you how to get some women and, look at us, flashy, you know, YouTube money. And we're going to get a bunch of simple ass bitches to come on this show. Both of us are non-ADOS, so we have our home base to run back to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, what problem do you even have? Again, we already know how the ADOS people feel about African Americans. So their whole notion about we're not Night Riders and we don't fuck with black women and everything else, I don't really expect them to. I don't know why, you know, black women were running around, you know, jumping up and down, feeling some type of way about them making that statement like it was somehow proving something. Like, yeah, you could say, yes, see, they're not, they're not for black women. And then they would, you know, you had a lot of black women going, these black men. I'm like, nah, these are non-ADOS men. Don't be putting that on us. Don't put that on us. You know what I mean? We don't sit there and say, oh, those women in some remote region of Africa that I don't know, doing some stupid shit. And then we say, yeah, see, that's how these black bitches are. No, they're not African American. If anything, it's the opposite direction. We'll sit there and we'll be like, they're more feminine, docile, whatever, because, you know, they don't have, you know, the strong, independent woman complex that African American women have that is like spreading and permeating around the world. Okay. Or, you know, like that situation, like that's what we're saying, you know, but to me, it's like a finesse. It's just a finesse. You have too many incels. You have too many, you know, black men like the ones that I talked about that called in mediocre tutorials, and a guy living in, you know, with his mom, and he was blind, and he was like, yeah, how do I invest my money that I get for disability, you know, and flip it? Took the money and flipped it, you know, on some Dame Dash shit, so that he could go off and, you know, but be a high value male. You know, and that's what a lot of these guys' audiences are. And what frustrates me about it is, like, you know, that's not what these conversations were supposed to be about. This is not about some pickup artist shit. This is about the problem with the matriarchy, the gynocracy, you know, black people's history in this country that these two individuals know very little about. You know what I mean? If they want to cater to the white boys that you know, go up there and, you know, they want to try to make this whole this gender generalized issue with the white boys, if they want to make this some multicultural thing, they can go do that. That was one of the biggest issues that I had, and one of the issues that Thugtician ended up having when it came to the manosphere when it first started. Because you had, what was that white guy's name? There was a white guy, Eli or Elis or something like that. Anyway, he's probably got to be in his 70s now, because he had to be in his 60s then. But anyway, you know, I'm telling you what happened. Like, this is back in the days of the wild, wild west of YouTube, way before monetization. You know, and this was one of the issues that I had, because the problems that black men have in America when it comes to black women, The problems that we have start with white supremacy. They start with whether it's because white supremacy is where black women get their economic opportunities, and those economic opportunities and resources are used, to challenge us or really bring into question, black patriarchy, the way that black men have been treated in this country in the face, of black women. Like, why would a black woman think that you can protect her when you can't even protect yourself from the white police and the system of white supremacy and the court systems and, ways in which black men were, maimed and hung, like July Perry, or Willie Brown out there in what was that? I think it was Omaha, Nebraska, or, George Floyd or Oscar Grant or Sean Bell. You know what I mean? These sorts of things. Right. So all that is tied into a lot of the issues that we have with African American women and the way that we view us. And I have never, forgotten that. And so when it comes to, the white guys and their MGTOW shit and their MRA stuff and everything else like that, I'm like, yo, most of the problems that we have, don't get me wrong, there's a universal component to it, especially in modern society. I hear men of all different cultures and all different backgrounds talking about, Western women and the problems they have with Western women, because living in Western society, we all share the same general Western culture, in addition to whatever it is we bring, from our own experiences based on whatever our racial group is. OK, so you can see all different type of races in the manosphere talking about Western. And these are areas like where we can, generally agree. These are areas that the courts are unfair. All white men in Western society can agree with that, right? The courts are unfair. Women, are materialistic. Nobody wants to marry the chick that's shaking her ass on OnlyFans. And so all these things are things that we agree with. Child custody is screwed up. All of this we agree with. The whole thing with sexual assault on women and arguments about rape and how, this whole believe women but don't believe men, and the whole thing that you saw with college campuses, and, he would just be, just kicked out of the university because some chick pointed the witch finger at him. Right. This presumption of guilt when it comes to men, and how we live in this society where everything about men is evil and everything about women is like pure and angelic. OK, that is something that every man can relate to in Western society, regardless of their background. However, when we get into the details, especially speaking on, African American men's issues, with our women, white supremacy is still a big part of that picture. And the problem that the Titian had, the problem that even I had was, and you see it in the comments there every once in a while, there's a lot of white guys that listen to me and they agree with a lot of points that I say. But when I get on that shit, railing against white supremacy, they get in their feelings. They get all type of triggered. They want to be like Governor DeSantis down there in Florida talking about, we need to create a bill to prevent white people from getting their feelings hurt from being told about the terrible things that their ancestors did, in the past, and how it has ramifications or implications on today. And we don't want to feel guilty about that. And so we need to create a bill to protect white feelings. Right. And so they don't want to have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, to sit there and act like the problems that black men specifically have with black women have nothing to do with policies like Jim Crow is bullshit. But I'm saying Fresh and Fit, they don't come from that. They didn't experience that. If I was Myron, you know what I mean? And I'm Sudanese, right? And I got some Sudanese women back home to tap into. I mean, like, seriously speaking, what is he running away from a bunch of obedient Muslim, Sudanese women from Khartoum? You know what I mean? Like all those women wrapped up in the hijab. Oh, there's so much problems with them. What's the problem? Where's the lack of cooperation? I haven't heard anything about, oh man, I can't stand these Sudanese women. I can't stand these Muslim women covered in the niqab and the burqas and shit. Oh man, they got so much attitude and whatnot. Right. And we already know how women are treated in Muslim countries. So I'm saying, like, okay, so what do you really like? What are you really mad at? Like, again, you already know how the Africans and the Caribbean blacks and whatnot, how they really feel about African Americans, right? So it wasn't like they were going to marry African American anyway. From calling black people Akata, do not date the Akata, right? That's your Nigerians talking that shit. But I'm saying the whole continent of Africa generally feels that way. They feel that they're better. They come here, oh, it's a land of opportunity. And again, all that speaking against ADOS, whatnot. They come here with their culture, their language, their history, their hierarchies, you know what I'm saying? Their religious orientation. They come in with all that shit intact. All that was stripped away from African Americans. So to compare the two and be like, oh, you black people in America, you just don't know how to take advantage, of all this, opportunity is disingenuous. It's intellectually disingenuous. And Africans and all these other foreign blacks, they love to fucking do that. African Americans are damaged and they never had time to heal. It's the same thing like with Haiti. You had the French, having Haiti. Everybody's like, oh, well, see, look, the blacks, they can't make it because, they can't govern themselves. And Haiti and the Haitians have been paying France a debt for lost property since the end of freaking the slave revolt, because they basically said, all right, y'all can have Haiti, but y'all gonna pay us for all the slaves we lost. Y'all gonna pay us. And if you don't pay us, we're gonna come back there with the armada, and we are going to, as the covenant would say in Halo, we're gonna leave, glass the earth. Okay, we're gonna leave scorched earth. And so the Haitians, they paid it. And as a result, the currency and everything, went to shit. Nobody wanted to trade with them. They didn't want Haiti to be a Wakanda. They didn't want Haiti to be a strong symbol, a strong example of, black resistance. And then not only that, a successful example that they would have to respect and negotiate, and an inspiration for all of the other colonies and all the other slave plantations, all around the quote unquote new world. They could not have that. So they had to crush Haiti. They had to bury Haiti, because they were the first successful slave revolt. They were the first one, and they could not have any other black people be inspired by that. So they crushed it, and everybody was in on it. They wouldn't trade with Haiti. They had an embargo on Haiti. Don't trade with Haiti. So now you got all these people on one half of an island. Nobody's trading with them. You can't survive as an island nation without, some sort of trade. Especially a group of people that aren't even native to that place. They were implanted there. Again, how do you slavery ends? How do you get an ex-slave to work for an ex-slave? How does that work? Who owns the land? Who works the land? How does that work? How do you negotiate that? I fought alongside you. How does that work? You see? So culture in the context of history matters. And so when I'm listening to Fresh and Fit, I'm like, they're just up there. Again, I see the finesse. I'm like, they're just up there parroting other people's talking points, the white guy's talking points, Kevin Samuel's talking points, other various people in the manosphere talking points. And that's why when Brittany's up there coming with her bullshit and her fluff, because she was up there saying a whole bunch of nothing, but she caught him a couple times. A couple times they were like, And see, this is the whole thing when you're parroting other people's talking points. And you didn't come up with them and hit it from every angle. You don't have as I like to say, the fuck it, let's go with that. You know what I'm saying? I would have been if I was sitting up there with Brittany, I would have been like, fuck it, let's go with that. Because what she was asking is very simple to respond to the shit that she's saying. You know what I'm saying? Oh, women this and women value and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, you all are hypergamous. You all are trying to date up. Men date down. You know what I'm saying? It's these are very simple things that you do. On top of the fact that when it comes to Brittany, I understand Brittany had a fucked up upbringing. She was raised by her racist ass grandparents. You know, her parents, biological parents, didn't do the right thing. So she got issues. I get it. That's got to be some fucked up shit, you know. And so whatever. Brittany's pretty. She's got light skin privilege. All she had to do, and this is why I don't feel bad for her. You know, it's like all you had to do is, you know, basically, you know, play the game. You know, but that's the whole thing. Like, Brittany didn't have any game, right? And see, this goes back to the point that I made a couple days ago about the, you know, power has no price. Brittany sat up there right on Kevin Samuel's show talking about, you know, well, what if I'm supposed to shine more than the dude? I'm like, well, that's not hypergamy right off top. And see the thing, and I actually defended Brittany, you know, in having a conversation with Cap, because I said, you know, I'm like, all right. I was like, she probably has the same problem you have. Right. Because in Captain Solo's family, the women use resources to dictate things and control things. And so Cap has, you know, again, you know, Cap has, it's not that he didn't get anything positive from his mother. There's certain things that he can point to and he can say, I learned this from the women in my family and I am better for it. But there's still foul shit that the women in his family did that negatively affected him. And then on top of that, then you had the, you know, men in his family that were stupid enough to let it go down. He had some that didn't let it happen with their marriages, uncles and stuff like that. And then you had others that did allow it to happen. And his father, you know, was the primary one. And so because of that, you ended up with the situation, you know, where Cap, you know, I was like, dude, if the world was a matriarchy, you would be a meninist. You know, he got a good laugh. I was like, meninist? I'm like, yeah, you would be a male feminist in a matriarchal world. You would be like Brittany Renner. You would be bucking everything because it doesn't matter whether patriarchy existed or not. Cap is not the type to let any other people be in control of his shit because he was too negatively affected by adults doing fucked up shit. So he's just not going to let anybody have control, male or female. And I'm saying if Brittany Renner's upbringing was so screwed up, and she had the racist grandparents and all this other stuff, then she wants to be in control. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with feminism. She may identify or claim, you know, it's feminism and whatnot, but she's not even in tune with her own upbringing enough to recognize that if her family members were doing fucked up shit to her as a child where you're helpless and you can't do anything, then from what I've seen, and I'm not a psychologist, but from what I've seen, people who were children and had adults do fucked up shit are control freaks. They must be in control at all times. But instead of just saying that, Brittany wraps it in, you know, this fight for women and everything, probably to get brownie points with women. But I kind of get the sense that she doesn't really make the distinction. You know what I mean? Like a lot of women don't do that. They don't make the distinction. They don't even fully get it themselves. It's like, damn, I guess you're right. This isn't feminism. This has to do with the fact that I want to be in control because when I was growing up and I wasn't in control, bad shit happened. So I have to be in control. And I'm like, in Cap, I was like, you're the same way. I was like, you're the same way. Regardless of, you know, the patriarchy, I'm like, you have to be in the driver's seat. You ain't about to let somebody else be in the driver's seat. You know, if mistakes are made, you were like, hey, that's on me. That's on me. You know, but, you know, the thing with Brittany is, it's like, I'm like an idiot. Like, what a waste of pretty. Like, what a waste of pretty. You know what Brittany Renner's biggest issue is? And she still has the issue. And it doesn't matter at this point. And this is one of the reasons why even Fresh and Fit, it was stupid for them to even go on DJ Academics to do the show, because Brittany has nothing to lose at this point. She's a single mom. Yes, she still looks good. You know what I'm saying? But her reputation is not the greatest. At most, I mean, I saw some comments on the Shade Room. You know, some of the dudes were like, you know, they were like, yo, I respect the way that she pulled up. You know what I mean? So on a street level, she's getting, respect for that because again, that's how the streets operate. It's about, they're not tripping over, okay, she got a baby. There's a lot of bitches out here that got babies and everything. Again, different category of men, different, cultural orientation. So they respect that. And that's what Brittany gravitated towards. You know what I mean? But the whole I'm gonna be a boss bitch, I'm gonna finesse a dude and everything else. I'm like, see, she didn't know how to finesse a guy through patriarchy. Guys can be easily finessed through patriarchy, but see, this is what we meant. And I know she's mixed, but she's culturally identified with the black community. She has more cultural context as a biracial woman than freaking Fresh and Fit do about the African American experience. That is undeniable. So she can speak on it more than they can speak on it. But I'm saying that whole cultural context when it comes to being an African American woman. Cap has said it. I have said it. At the end of the day, when it comes to African American women are the worst gold diggers in the world. And women who are African American culturally identified or black female culturally identified are the worst gold diggers in the world. You know why? Because they can't keep their attitudes and their mouth in check long enough to get to the gold. Okay, everything is all about being a boss bitch and everything, all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Brittany could have easily. It's so funny. Like I knew this white girl that, she was all in the black men and she had the look, she had the body. I mean, she was a built ass white girl, but she was trying to be a sister. Okay. And in being a sister, talking a bunch of shit, just doing wild shit, went golf, got a bunch of tattoos. I'm like, why? Now you can't look the part. You can't even fake it. You got all them. I'm like, you just cut yourself off from all of these high value men that are over there in, corporate America or work some professional shit, the suited and booted brothers. And maybe Brittany didn't want a suited and booted brother. You know what I mean? But it's like, you have all this. It's like all these women today, they want this baller that's in the spotlight. And I'm like, if that's what you want, why do y'all complain about the fact that you can't get the doctor or the lawyer or the judge or whatever? You know what I mean? Some of you all don't even know how much those brothers are making. You know what I mean? Or guys that have, small businesses or multiple small businesses. You just had a family that just got what they get is like a construction company family, a black-owned business that got 7 government contracts. 7, all of it bundled together is multi-million dollars. Multi-million dollar contracts they got, right? This is the whole problem because, when it comes to like government contracts, like you can go and like, I forget where you go, but you can go and get government contracts and 2% are supposed to go to my minority businesses. 2%. And you know who ends up showing up? The guy from Bangladesh who just got in the country yesterday, right? He's going to tap into that 2%. Even though technically speaking, that 2% was meant to or was supposed to be specifically for African Americans who went through all the bullshit that this country served up. Not the dude from Bangladesh, not the dude from Iraq, not the dude from Syria, not the dude from freaking Kazakhstan. You know what I'm saying? Not those guys, but the African Americans. You see, and so when African Americans are there raising their hand trying to get shit, they got to compete with all the other minorities that represent that, that are a part of that are going to try to be a part of that 2%, government contracts. There's a lot of bullshit going on. I had a woman, multi-millionaire, woman who wanted me to work for her. This is, years ago when I was much younger. She wanted me to work for her. And what she wanted to do was she wanted to put me as the face of her company so that she could tap into being not only a female business, but a minority business as well. Because she was already getting the female. She was already pulling the female card. You know what I mean? That she was what do they call it? Like a female business, something like female owned business or something like that. So there's a percentage of contracts that are allotted to them. So she was sapping all that up, and she was like, well, if I put a black face on this, I'll get even more of the the so-called, oppressed groups resources. Right. So not only am I female, but I can also claim the black business part. That's what she was thinking. You know what I mean? So there's all type of bullshit that goes on, in there. But, again, black people ain't focused on that. Black people are focused on, who has the right invisible friend up there in the sky. Dumb shit. But I'm just saying, when it comes to Brittany, Brittany could have played her cards right. And Brittany could have been sitting on the opposite side of that table as, Jada Pinkett. But like Jada Pinkett, what's her problem? Doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. Does not know when to shut the fuck up. Again, sat up there on that DJ Academics tape and said a whole bunch of nothing. Literally said a whole bunch and challenged them. Yeah, she did challenge them, but she said a whole bunch of nothing. And their responses were just as basic and generic. Oh, we're here to help men, and what there was something that was said. There was something that was said that this whole bullshit. Like, here's another thing, right? One of the biggest problems in the black community, right? We talk about the black economics, but as I've said before, you can't have black economics and generational wealth if black men and black women are not seeing eye to eye. The family unit is the fundamental unit of the community. So if black men and black women are not seeing eye to eye, you can forget about black economics. You might as well flush it down the toilet. Okay. And this is why, and this is why I'm saying that they repeat other people's talking points. And this is why I was getting on Kevin Samuels' ass about this bullshit that he keeps put shit that Kevin Samuels should have never said. 50-year-old men getting with 20-year-old women. Stop that bullshit. The other thing that Kevin should have never said, all this shit about, men that have wealth and all this other shit, they explore their options. And that's exactly what Fresh and Fit do. They have options. All the women want yes, we understand that. So these women have to be competitive. But if that's what you're going to say, then at that point, high value men really have no value. Because there's no stability in a high value man running around talking about how he's going to run through a bunch of bitches. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? What do you think you're going to like? First off, how are you going to pass your wealth on if you don't have any children, especially sons? And then you think your sons are going to be okay with you running around with a bunch of bitches on their mom and then standing before them and saying, I was just exploring my options. Fuck out of here. And your sons will probably beat your fucking ass and his well-deserved ass beaten. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, like not community-based. And I blame Kevin for that. Kevin takes the charge for that one. Okay? Because that's why you got to be careful about what you say. Because there's idiots in the back. There's finesses. There's all other type of shit that will grab your shit and they will fucking run with it. You got to be careful with what you're saying. I have people always, why do you make so many disclaimers? Why are your videos so long? Because I know if I don't make that shit crystal clear, motherfuckers will grab that shit and they will run with it at light speed like they're the goddamn Flash. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that's not what that means. You know what I mean? Like you can acknowledge something. That doesn't mean that you go and you go out there and you participate in it. Like I said, you want to run through a bunch of bitches? Run through a bunch of bitches. But if you're talking about community and Wakanda and a better, brighter black community and a safer community and all this other shit, you can't go out here and run through a bunch of bitches. If you're talking about wealth creation, creating wealth, generational wealth, you know what I mean? You got to talk about finding one woman. You only need one. And you should only have one. You get your shit together, and as soon as you get your shit together, you get with that one woman that you deem to be, a cooperative woman. The women orient themselves in that direction to try to find, a man, a suitor, and says you are the one. The way you carry yourself. I got a Pakistani couple that I know. Man, they got married so fast. They went somewhere, and she, She's beautiful. He's very handsome. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to say what his career is, but he's doing very well for himself. And I mean, that was exactly what she was looking for. She was like a handsome man that has a established career, and he was looking for a woman that, you know, is youthful, beautiful, and knows what her role is. And she knew what she had already like she knew what her role was going to be. She knew what her role was going to be. Even with her being quote unquote westernized. You know what I'm saying? She, you know, and I'm saying he really wasn't even looking for a woman that was, you know, easternized, you know, because he's Americanized himself. But he wanted a woman that knew how to go through emotions when they get around the family, when they get around the masjid and all that other stuff. She would play her role. That's all he was looking for. He wasn't even looking for her to play, you know, some traditional role, you know, like she's supposed to be churning butter in the kitchen or some shit, you know, like it's ancient time. That's not what he was looking for. But he was looking for the woman that, when it comes to being around the old folks and the more traditional people in the community, they look like that little good, a Muslim couple. You know what I'm saying? Mashallah. You know what I'm saying? They look like a little good Muslim couple. And that's what they did. You know what I mean? And they're both happy. You know what I mean? But I mean, it was like them dating in a small period of time. It was like, he's the one, she's the one. I was like, wait, huh? What? Meanwhile, black people, we toil around, all this bullshit. And a lot of that has to do, there's a direct correlation between men getting married and not and having their shit together versus men not getting married and not having their shit together. There's a direct correlation. I don't know why women always try to ignore this fact. You know, man, black men aren't marrying us. Well, if they don't have their shit together, you know what I mean, and they got some damn sense, then no, they're not in a position to marry you. And do what? Do what if they marry? Do what? Do what? Be emasculated? You know what I'm saying? Like Patrice O'Neal said, you know, be a penguin or a seal and she's the great white shark. No, he needs to freaking avoid all the shaming that women do because they want to get married, right? No, you need to move on and find a more eligible dude. That's what you need to do. And young black men need to get their shit together as soon as possible. And taking advice from brothers that are getting YouTube money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's point all this crap about we're high value and it's, for real. Oh, you became high value when yesterday. Come on, like I said, the only brothers that I see speaking that are actually that came to the internet high value is Dennis Sperling and Lead Attorney. You know what I'm saying? That is it. I'm talking about people that were making money before they got into the social media realm. Not even Kevin Samuels, you know, the whole him selling cologne and, you know, all the those channels because he's been around for a while, but nobody was focused on that. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, he found his, you know, his horse, his chariot, you know what I mean? And bam, he's gone. But, you know, like when it comes to, you know, real advice where most of y'all are not going to make money on YouTube. Most of you are not going to be bringing in, you know, those type of numbers, you know, getting freaking, you know, I don't know, $15,000, $20,000 checks a month from YouTube. You know, you're not. You know, so you gotta have more realistic goals. Same with the women. All these women, you know, you got 100% of women that only want 10% of dudes. Unrealistic. And all that's going to happen in the very near future is a bunch of, marriage rates, and this may be the end of society, end of Western civilization, aside from all the other bullshit going on, fucking North Korea, Russia, fucking Ukraine, China, all this bullshit going on. And then you have all this crap with the, you know, the job market and COVID and again, the marriage rates just falling off a goddamn cliff. And you know they're falling off a cliff when white media starts talking about white people not having babies. You know shit is fucked up when they're why aren't white men going to college? You know, when they start talking all that shit, that's a sign that society is about to collapse and crumble. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, again, like what I talked about when I talked about Halo and the AI and rampancy and shit. You start thinking yourself to death. And society, Western society, is at a point where it's thinking itself to death. You know, and I don't know what the answer is or the solution to undo all of that. It's almost like it can't be undone. You know what I mean? I mean, people, you know, like even I was talking to Cap about this, even the job market, you know, like I was like, when did all this shit change? When did women start catching these fucking attitudes? And he said, right after feminism, you know, when women started, you know, working jobs, they started bringing in money. You know, and I said, damn, you know, and I was like, yeah, I'm just like, my generation is worse off. And, you know, he asked me why. I was like, because even though you had women making money in the 70s, their money couldn't touch their husband's unionized jobs. On top of the fact that you grew up in an era where you did see those intact homes where, if, you know, because the Cap, you know, he was over, you know, in Detroit, and, you know, there were still men working in factories, working at GM. They were still paying good money back then. Majority of the houses that had fathers in the home, the father was the breadwinner. Okay. And then once women started getting in the workforce, a lot of that, you know, women started making money and started changing. Women started choosing differently, you know, and then, you know, in the black community, obviously we had the whole, you know, crack era. You know, you had, you know, the men that were in the streets were making way more money than working men. So then you had that whole, all of that collapse. You know, and I told him, I said, yeah, my generation is much worse off because, you know, just in how we view things, like even when it comes to, you know, because I was talking about, you know, black men and, you know, them interracially dating and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, like you grow up and you think that behavior is normal. And the thing is like for the women that are, you know, in my generation and younger, you know, many of them, like, they weren't making, like, where you had, like, the women in the 70s and even the 80s, they were making money. You know what I mean? The women that took on that sort of, you know, that challenging the male authority thing. But now you got women that don't even make money, and it's a mindset now. You know, it's a mindset. You got little girls, you know, talking about strong and independent, and they still living with their peoples. It's a mindset now. And then, you know, you get these, you know, men that go off and interact with other groups. Again, you know, those terrible Muslim women that, you know, Myron is running away from. Like, fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and African-American men, they interact with those women, and, you know, it's going to be, they're going to view it completely different because we all believe that the behavior was just the way that, you know, sisters were. And again, it's not, it's cultural at this point. It's not a matter of, oh, we got resources now and da da da. Like, again, it's nonsense for sisters to run around and talk about how they got, a literal handful of black women actually have resources like that. If black women were all super successful all over the place, then you tell me why the hell they're doing that pilot program down in Georgia when it comes to, we are going to give black women universal basic income. Why is that even going on if y'all killing it like that? You know, again, people have bought into these ideas of delusion, all this propaganda that's put out there to the point that people don't even know the facts. You know, they grab on the things that they like to hear about their group, whether racially or gender wise, and then they run with it. And it's like so far away from the actual truth that would actually humble a lot of people. But for some reason, nobody does that. So we have all this delusion running around like rampant. You know, I mean, to talk about, it was like to just show you how bullshit a lot of this stuff is. The reason why I'm glad Kevin Samuels brought up the high value man is because we needed to get away from the Ray Ray and Pookie argument that women were making all the time, like Cynthia G does all the time. Notice every black man she talks about is Dusty. And then when you get to a successful man, usually the argument will be, men cheat, some shit like that, right? Even though we talk about women cheating in the margins and fucking dudes on their lunch break and shit like that, because men don't say no to pussy like that, right? But that's why that was good. Because it's like, oh, no, fuck that. No, don't tell me about Ray Ray and Pookie and what you did for Ray Ray and Pookie. Tell me about what happens when you come across Idris Elba. Tell me what happens when you come across a brother like that. No, we already know. You're like Jada. You don't know how to act. You up there talking dumb shit about entanglements and all this mystical Earth Mother Goddess Afrocentric bullshit mumbo jumbo, because you're trying to, mental gymnastic your way out of the fact that, you're not playing your role. So that's why the high value male discussion was important. But the thing is like now it makes no sense. It makes it like the job numbers are horrible. The stock market is horrible, and you got people running around talking about high value this, high value that, throwing up all these six figures numbers of, the 10% of dudes that even make that, throwing up all these crazy numbers and shit. And it's like, and people are out here literally losing their ass. I mean, if you look at people, especially black people, but I'm saying I'm gonna be on some tone talk shit. Black people don't have no money. You know what I'm saying? So and quiet as is kept. Like, it's like, I remember I had a comment from a white guy. Sisters, they were, the swirlers and the divestors. They were talking about, and white men do this, and that motherfucker wrote a comment. He was like, the hell we do. I had to bust out laughing, because again, everybody is taking a hit with this COVID shit. Well, not everybody. Some people are doing well because, they bet against the market, or like they're on the opposite end of the spectrum, when it comes to, like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of something that you would do well in during COVID. What would be something? Okay, like anybody in telecommunications during COVID. Oh, they're doing great. They're doing fantastic because, again, people are working from home. Oh shit, I need a computer. I need to be able to communicate. Oh, Zoom, like Zoom just blew up out of nowhere. I mean, perfect timing. Now everything is Zoom or what's some other ones? Zoom. I think there's like Blue Gene. There's a couple of telecommunication software that people use and stuff like that. Yeah, they're killing it. They're killing it. But most of these other areas not killing it. And last time I checked, black people across the board don't have the most fantastic jobs. Like, again, I'm saying the people that are claiming themselves to be high value, the majority of which are only high value because of the YouTube success. Prior to YouTube, they were not running around, commanding respect and making all these chief decisions and whatnot that you could have gone and gotten advice from them before, because they didn't have it like that. So it's just a farce for people to sit there and go, well, I'm high value. It's bullshit. Yes, technically, are they high value? Do they have a high income? Yeah, absolutely. Can they do things that they couldn't do before? Yes, absolutely. You know what I mean? But to act like they have a decade's worth of experience of what it is to be a high value man, and they were riding around in a Mercedes-Benz S coupe with the soft top, drop top. No, I did not say S Mercedes-Benz. I did not say S class, Mercedes-Benz. I said S coupe, the coupe. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, they were not riding around in that. I love that car, by the way. Absolutely love that car. But anyway, they were not riding around in that. No. They were riding around in a Camry. And then, shit blew up and now they're making money and now they're giving, advice. And what's really sad is all these guys, these guys, and some of the prizes kept for a lot of them, it's their fault. You know what I mean? The shit I like what Rich Cooper said. Rich Cooper he doesn't pull any punches. That motherfucker is like, pick heavy shit up, put it down. That shit cracks me up every time he sees it, every time he says it. Because it is that simple. Get your money up. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you don't have game, look, I don't know how to tell you to have game. You know, game, the whole reason why women like game is a sign of your intelligence. Okay? Can you, and number one game is making a chick laugh. Why is making a chick laugh so important? Because it shows that you're witty, you're clever. You see? You know, and women can talk all the shit they want. Women are attracted to intelligent men. So if you can finesse, if you can talk, if you can do all that, then that shit says, hey, he has good genes. He has a lot of brain power. This might be beneficial to you and your offspring. That's why game matters. You can't just go around here and be socially awkward. On top of that, you can't go around here and look like, like you just, left Auschwitz. You know what I'm saying? You can't look like that either. That's another thing. So you got to have the physical part. You know what I mean? And again, it's like, you got to be your best. You got to give your best, 110%. Not somebody else's 110%, your 110%. And there's a lot of guys that don't want to put in the work. Especially guys from the incel community. They're over there whining. It's so funny. Like you go over to the white nationalists. They talk about how black people are inferior and they have tiny Negro brains and the bell curve this and the bell curve that. Right? They talk all this bullshit. Right? Then you go over to the incel camp. I can't compete with black men. Black men are genetically superior. They have more fast twitch fibers in their muscles. I'm like, oh my God, really? Really? I mean, you should see him. Go over there and just Google YouTube the shit. Just type in why black men are so athletic. And there's a bunch of videos of white men talking about black athletic superiority and genetics and muscle insertions. And I'm just like, motherfuckers, are we inferior or superior? Like, which one is it? Which one is it? You know what I mean? And then you'll get the clever one. Well, yes, you all are physically superior, but you're intellectually inferior. You know what I mean? Like, it's so fucking tired. You know what I mean? The dudes just don't want to put in the work. You know what I mean? You see him like what's that other channel called Red Pill? He's a Russian dude. Red Pill Chris. Oh my God, I can't stand that dude. He's like, improve yourself, brothers, or it says some bullshit like that. And I'm like, dude, you don't look like you've been improving. The scrawny ass white boy with the fucking big ass Adam's apple and shit. Like, why is your Adam's apple that goddamn big? Why is your neck that fucking scrawny and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, they want these Chads. They want Chad. I'm like, oh, here we go with the fucking Chad bullshit. Again, why can't you be both? If you already got the smarts, all you gotta do is hit the gym. They don't want to do it. They do not want. They're just as bad as a lot of these women out here that don't want to, get it right, get it tight. And again, sexual reproduction is a fucking competition. Nobody owes you anything when it comes to sex and dating. And there's a lot of entitled people out here that act like, I demand you get with me. Like, no, that's not how it works. You got to be what people want. And I'm saying, to me, there's certain easy, generic, smell good, have clear skin, exercise, brush your teeth, have a nice white smile. You know what I mean? And I know some people that got crooked teeth. You see, like Danica, she got her teeth fixed. You know what I mean? If we're talking about you should be getting your money right, then once you get your money right, first thing you should do if you got crooked teeth is fix your teeth. But people get on some stupid shit. I'm not fixing my teeth because that's shallow. That's shallow, but you wanting a bad bitch that wants to Netflix and chill, even though she can do better than you, is not shallow. Like, fuck out of here. The fuck out of here with your bullshit. So you get these guys that they just want to, like, I like how Unekwu said, they just want to, like, sit around and circle jerk each other, when it comes to, these conversations. They don't want to fucking put in the work, and they're just up there, bitching, and they're gonna give Fresh and Fit and all these gurus and pickup artists their money, and whatever. You can't stop it. That's not gonna stop because they have an audience. And there's always going to be a younger generation of guys that don't know, they're not being schooled, they don't have the information, and so they're going to look to those guys, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to look up to them. Oh, you have so much wisdom and everything. And I question the intelligence of a lot of people. I'm like, you don't have the discernment to be able to identify somebody who's like legit versus somebody who's not. You know what I mean? Everybody can talk about, Dan Bilzerian and he's fake and he was renting houses and everything else like that. But notice, like, he didn't do any of that shit looking like a dweeb. He grew his beard out, you know what I mean? Looking like a tier 1 operator. I think he lied about the Navy SEAL shit. You know what I mean? But he had the body, the look to go with it. You know what I'm saying? And again, you know what the main reason why people respect body? It's not even, you don't have to have a perfect body. Like, everybody essentially has a body, and generally speaking, if you exercise and shit like that, you will improve your body. But people respect the work that you put in. That's why people, when they look at fat people, they assume that they're lazy. Even though there's fat people that aren't lazy. I mean, how many videos you've seen on TikTok where some fat person is, breakdancing or doing gymnastics, and you're like, damn, how does he throw that weight around? I didn't even know, like, fat people. No, they were normal size, and they could do that before, and then they got fat, and they can still do it. It's like riding a bike. But I'm just saying, people assume that when people are fat that they're lazy. People also assume that when people are emaciated, you know what I mean, that they're lazy as well, or that they don't put in the work, or that they have poor genetics. People assume that. So, like, again, appearance matters, all that shit matters. But, when I listen to some of these incels and, Black Pill and all these other people, like, when I listen to them or see their content, I mean, first thing I zero in on is how they look. That's the first thing I zero in on. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I'm not looking for whether a person's handsome or not. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for if you have enough sense of the social cues of society to understand, how you need to look before you hop on a camera. It's just like what I say about the sisters that call in and Kevin Samuel's show with the bonnets. I'm like, so let me get this right. So people run around and they say that black women are unattractive, that they're not feminine. And Kevin Samuels has over 1 million subscribers. I think he's got like 1.3 million subs. And you're going to get in front of the camera with a bonnet on, looking like Hattie McDaniel from Gone with the Wind. Like, for real? Like, this is what you're doing? You see what I'm saying? Like, again, like some people, they don't even deserve a maybe. They don't even deserve, what they claim that they want. They don't. Just straight up. And they should be disqualified, and everybody else should just move on and let them bitch. But unfortunately, the voice has given, the internet has given a voice to everybody. So everybody gets to bitch. And the way that the internet works is, the loudest mouths get fed. And so once you have people to jump up and they're screaming and bitching, if they bitch enough, then, all of a sudden the conversation shifts and everybody's talking about that. Again, look at the LGBT community. The LGBT community is only 1 to 3% of the U.S. population. You know what I'm saying? 1 to 3%. So what is that? 1/5, right? Would that be 1/5 of the African American communities? Because it's about 14 million black people in America, right? So, like, here they are bitching, and well, actually, no, I can't. I think that's multiplying unlike terms, because it's 1% of the 330 million people. So I shouldn't compare those two, the percentage to the number of African American people. I would have to that 1.3% to the the 13%. There's not 14 million black people in America. There's 40 million. What am I talking about? There's like 41 million black people in America. I'm sorry. Fuck my math. But anyway, I'm just saying you have this very small population of black people. Of gay people who like all of a sudden everything is about gay people and like everybody should be gay and all this other crap, and we should all entertain alternative lifestyles and all this other nonsense that has nothing to do with black empowerment or black men and women linking up and getting together. I could care less about what's going on in the transgender LGBTQ whatever community. I don't care about what's going on in the Alphabet Gang because the Alphabet Gang has nothing to do with black empowerment, has nothing to do with the black family, the nuclear family, has nothing to do with that. I don't begrudge them. They want to do what they want to do and everything. But as a heteronormative cisgender man, I'm going to say it time and time again. I'm not putting their shit on par with my shit. Sorry. You know what I mean? Do I think violence should occur against them? Hell no. They can go off and they do their thing. But again, like I said, do I want to live in a community, just chock full of LGBTQ? No. I want to raise my heteronormative cisgender family in a community with heteronormative cisgendered values in a patriarchal structure. That's what I want to do. So, these are the things that I just had to say and needed to get off my chest. I said this video was going to be short, didn't I? You see how fucked up, see how deep I get into this crap, but, yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Trying to think, but yeah, I got to bring it all together. Like I got to bring it all together because, people get caught in the superficiality of the shit. And I guess maybe I can do that because I've been here long enough. I've been online long enough. I've been in these conversations long enough. So like I see the way bigger picture. And I know when I see some interlopers, some interlopers trying to make a quick buck. And I don't begrudge them for making, they can say, oh, it's entertainment and all this other shit. But they're messy. That's why I don't fuck with it. They're messy and they're corny and they're tryhards, man. I don't like that shit. And the other thing I don't like is I don't like people who are that unoriginal. Yes, there is a general conversation going on and there's certain talking points. Like you can't talk about it without talking about it, right? If you're talking about gender issues and everything, some of the same talking points will come up. I don't have a problem with that. But when you have people that are just, like I said, they're not as well versed as they should be beyond parroting a point. I'm very quick to recognize that. Because see, when you got your own points, when you are the person that you even thought about it, like again, example, the Patrice O'Neal, like he said, I come up with analogies so I can explain my point. You know what I mean? You're not parroting somebody else's analogy. You come up with your own analogy. You know what I mean? And people give you pushback. You're like, whoa. I done given way more thought to this than just 30 seconds. Fuck it. Let's go with that. When you get to the point where you can say, when I see a person that's like, oh, so somebody pushes back and they're like, all right, let's go with that. Let's go with your point. I'm telling you, that's the wrong one to fuck with. And I've seen Kevin do that a number of times. Kevin is at that level. Kevin is at the fuck it, let's go with that. You know what I mean? They want to push back and Kevin, all right, fuck it. Okay, let's go. And then they'll just start punching holes in their shit. Okay, you just keep punching holes. And how's that supposed to work? Explain to me the man. I mean, the best one, the absolute best one that Kevin Samuels did. I'll tell you, because I get excited just thinking about the way that he shut that shit down. The woman was talking about, again, the single mother called in talking about, another man marrying another man and everything. And he was like, so when you get your new husband and everything, is your ex-husband, is he going to pay for the children that you have with your new husband? And she was like, no. And it's like, okay, so why should your new husband pay for the kids that you had with the old husband? I was like, oh, he cut off her air. He cut her air off. She has nowhere to go. She has nowhere to go. I mean, that was the ultimate. That was ultimate. But see, that is fuck it. Let's go with your idea and run that shit. I'm gonna punch a hole right in that bitch. I'm gonna punch a hole right in your bubble. You see, and see, that's when people are at that intellectual level. You know what I mean? When they get to that Yoda phase, when they get to that, if so powerful you are, why leave? When they can tell Darth Sidious that's, I'm like, oh, you fucking with the wrong one. You fucking with the wrong one. But when you get guys that go, and then all they can do is parrot canned responses. I can't stand when women do canned responses. Like I said about Cynthia G, you know, it's like again, the build conversation is a 2010 conversation. And again, black men do need to build, but once we got to the idea was if you build it, they will come. You can't expect black women to cooperate in this, that, and the third if you're not building shit. But once it was identified, just like Brittany Renner, okay, just like Jada Pinkett, once you identify that these women want power, it's all about them being in control. Again, the pursuit of power has no price. So actually, I take back what I said about Brittany Renner because no, Brittany did exactly what a woman who's seeking power is going to do. So in other words, yeah, like I say, Brittany has no game. Yeah, if her goal was to get with a man that was, established and played the role of a wife and everything else like that, I'm like, yeah, Brittany fucked up, but that's not her goal. So I can't charge her with screwing up a direction that she was never trying to go in the first place. You get what I'm saying? Right? If she wasn't trying to play the role of a wife, I can't be like, oh, Brittany, you screwed up because she had no game and that's where she wanted to go. No, she was trying to go in the opposite direction. Like she told Kevin Samuels, well, what if I'm supposed to shine? I'm like, so how are you supposed to date up and get what if I'm supposed to shine? I'm like, yeah, see, I'm like, you want to be in control. And again, I think it goes beyond feminism. I think it's rooted in the fact that she had such a horrible upbringing and must be in control and being in the spotlight, since that's the way she makes her money. That's her being in control. The more she's in the spotlight, the more she gets money, the more she is in control of her own life. And I'm saying there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But a lot of these women, they want to be, like I told you, they want to be, they want to have it all. They want to be taken care of, right? But then have their own money to buck the authority of the dude that's taking care of them. So it's like, okay, well, at that point, you just want dude's resources. That's all that is. You just need to call it like it is. You just want his resources. So anyway, this video is way too long. God damn, man. You know how I get in the zone. But yeah, I got a bunch of videos. I haven't gotten around to posting. Even speaking on Danika's, is it Danika or Danikia? But anyway, her awesome video called, what's it called? Struggle Adrenaline, man. I mean, I watched that shit like 3 times. She was like, coming to you live right now. We making up terms over here. Struggle Adrenaline. I do have a video speaking on that because that fully supported the video that I did about, his success is her intimidation. And I mean, she broke that down. And then I followed up with that Patrice, O'Neill with a clip where, we called it Hoes in Hypergamy, where he talked about, his shark analogy was the best. That, you got a great white shark, you got a male shark and a female shark. And, all the other animals, they don't sit there and they be like, oh, that's a female great white shark. Like, no, they're all scared of the female shark just as much as they are the male shark. But the female shark, great white shark, she doesn't like the fact that she lives in the shadow of the male great white shark. Like Patrice said, He's like, yeah, that. Dun, he's like, no, that's my theme music. That's not your theme music. That's my theme music. And so the female shark, she's feeling some type of way. And I mean, this is textbook for Harriet. You know what I'm saying? This is textbook. The female great white shark, she wants to shine. She's like, I'm a great white shark too. You know what I mean? So what does she start doing? She goes out there and starts dating the penguins and the seals because they fear her because she's a great white shark. You know what I mean? They have reverence for her because she's a great white shark and they're just a seal or a penguin. They're food. And the thing is she wants to feel like how the male great white shark feels. She wants to feel that, but she can't feel that. Not in this society. That's why these women want to tear down the society. She can't feel that. That's why they hate the patriarchy. They hate Western society. We get into all that stupid shit. Girls only play with dolls because they've been socialized by Western society to play with dolls, right? Even though women will sit around and in another conversation talk about how, women's have a natural nurturing nation nurturing nature. And then, again, I'm like, how is it y'all just jump around at conveniently at will talking about how, again, the women are nice and sugar and spice and men are just, evil and, they need to be controlled and all that other bullshit. But then when somebody says, girls play with dolls and boys play with Tonka trucks, all of a sudden you're offended. I'm like, in another conversation, you'll be talking about how women are more nurturing and loving and this, that, and the third. But then when you point out, again, the women that, want to be the great white shark and they want, the respect that the male great white shark gets and they don't get it. They're like, tear the system, tear it all down. But like Patrice said, they'll date the seal, they'll date the penguin. And when and over time, they'll become resentful and realize that penguin and that seal doesn't do anything for them. It's just a yes penguin or a yes seal, a yes man. You know what I mean? And eventually they will emasculate and they will bite that damn seal or penguin's head off. And I mean, what's so crazy, if you go back and you look at the Breakfast Club from like 6 or 8 years ago with Jill Scott on there, she says exactly that. She was like, what did she say? She said something about, you can't tell me what to do. If you can't tell me what to do, then you can't tell me what to do. And then she talked about how, she was like, if you're a weak, I'll eat you alive. Something to that effect. You go in there and pull it up. Okay, this is what we've been talking about. Okay, find me a Sudanese woman talking about, I'm gonna eat this man alive. Again, this is all about opportunities and money and the money that women are making and what they can do and how they're dating. Women get resources. They try to date like dudes. Okay, and the world is not set up for that. And that is where a lot of this anger and frustration and everything else comes into play. The world is not set up for women to be successful like men and then date like men and then get respect for it like men. It's not set up for that. And so because it's not set up for that, what is the answer? Tear it all down, burn it down to the ground. We need to, recalibrate society, right? And this is where you get, all the push, because at the end of the day, men are not going to go with that. They're just simply not going to participate. And so no matter how the women try to angle it, no matter how women try to twist it, no matter the shame, the guilt, the insults, all that shit, doesn't matter. The men ain't going to go for it. They're just not going to participate. The men who are seals and penguins, they might participate, but the other men, they're not going to participate. They're not going to participate. And those typically are the men that the women want. Because here's the whole thing, right? This is the whole crazy part. And I know I'm going on and I need to stop. But if a woman gets with a penguin, she thinks that she's going to get that type of respect. She doesn't get it. But at the same time, there is that angle of, if she gets with another great white shark, she gets elevated to the level of the great white shark. But the problem is that the attention You know what I'm saying? The spotlight is not on her, it's on the male great white shark. So it's like she can either be on the arm of a quote unquote high value man, the great white shark, the male great white shark, or she can get respect and reverence, you know what I mean? Or again, what essentially is fear, or dependency from a seal or a penguin. But she can't get both. She can't get the shine and she can't get the reverence. She's got to pick one or the other. Get with the beta or get with the alpha male and not be in the spotlight. And that is why so many women hate being women. You see all this shit. We love being women and women are wonderful and women are powerful. You ever see those type of things that all these models post on Instagram and shit like that? All these little sayings and everything. I'm like, chick, what are you talking about? Empower women, powerful and everything. And I'm like, you're up here with your like showing like your body off half naked. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Yes, men are moved by beautiful women. We're moved by looking at you half naked and everything. But like this whole idea that there's so much like earth-shattering power in that. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. Like they're trying to use the word in the same context as it applies to men who are actually powerful and movers and shakers and shit. And it's not like that. Your beauty is God-given. His abilities to mold the world around him, that is not God-given to any man. Men have to earn that. They have to hone their skills. They have to, create. So when women try to put that, which is God-given to them on par with men, it doesn't work. It doesn't apply. You know what I mean? And like Cap used to always say, yeah, a woman can do the exact same thing as men can. You know what I'm saying? But two things. She may even get the respect, but that does not mean that the man is going to be willing to date her. And again, that's where the problem comes in. And that right there, because I agree with Patrice O'Neal, because I very much have had the same sentiment that women hate being women, because to be a woman her value is in the attachment to a man. Or her being recognized again, like he said, a male king, he chooses a woman, she gets elevated to his status. But if a female queen, she marries a dude, he's like, that's not the, he doesn't get elevated to her position. You know what I'm saying? He's nothing more than the queen's bitch. That's what it's going to be seen as. He's not king. He's not recognized as the king. He's recognized as, the queen's husband. You know what I'm saying? Just like with the whole thing with, Hillary Clinton and her becoming president. It's like, or when she was running for president. You know what I mean? It's like people didn't even know what to call, Bill Clinton if Hillary Clinton became president. We would go the first husband, the first man. Like what is the term? We don't even have a terminology for that. We know what the first lady is. Yes, the first lady. Yes, but the first man, the first husband. We agreed upon the first man. He is the first man. That doesn't even sound right. And that's why the society is so fucked up, because of the evil patriarchy. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to end this video, but there is a very interesting video by Dr. What's the whole name? I can't even think his name. The T. Curry, right? I know that's not his whole name. It's T. Curry. What T was? Is it TJ Curry? T. Curry, something. Anyway, Dr. Curry. And he's got a video where he talks about, he's, challenging, a lot of stuff. He's got the black male studies over there in Ireland, I think it is. But anyway, isn't the irony of that, right? But because they won't let him you can't have black male studies in America, even though I know Dr. T. Hassan Johnson is over there doing that at Fresno State. But, they don't get the funding. But the one of the things that he pointed out about, the whole, this illusion of patriarchy is this notion that that it's just a structure that benefits men. And he specifically talks about in groups and out groups, and how it's really about how old men, take advantage of the situation, and they're the ones that are in control, and the young men are not in control. But then even beyond that, there are these in groups and out groups, and he was really speaking to, I'll put the link in the description box. It was a really good video. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it was really, really eye-opening, because I never heard it expressed like that. I always knew that patriarchy was not just some shit where, just men just rule and everything else. No, it's not like that. And one of the things that I think a lot of women make the mistake on is, they always want to act like patriarchy is so evil and it doesn't benefit women at all, and they keep saying that. But man, it's funny how when men take away all the archaic chivalry from patriarchy, all this stuff that women are demanding, they need to protect us and we need to be provided for it, all this, you take all that away, they start bitching. I'm like, whoa, 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 babe. I'm like, that's a part of evil patriarchy. Why are you demanding that? You know what I'm saying? Like they want to they try to make it seem like it's something separate. Like that's just something that men should automatically do independent of patriarchy. Like, no, that comes with patriarchy. Fuck out of here. But see, they try to separate it like your duty is to protect and provide for women no matter what. Regardless of whether we bear children with you, you should just, again, beehive mentality. You're just a drone and you need to recognize the queen. And so, Brittany has this mentality. Jada has this mentality. Megan the Stallion has this mentality. Who else has this mentality? I mean, you just list. Especially going through the list of all these black female celebrities, and I think that's probably the worst part, because all of them are millionaires. All of them, are going to find it difficult to go out here and find, men. All of them are going to have it difficult. Again, a lot of them are going to enter Nicki Minaj type situations. And I think it's because a lot of them want power. Not necessarily. I'm like, yo, there's some black multimillionaires out there, or men that at least are in the ballpark of the millions that you can link up with. But how many of those men want to get with those women? It's like they can't keep their entertainment separate from, their marriage and whatnot. I guess like who's a good example of somebody who like got married and is able to do that? I don't know, maybe like Gwen Stefani. I don't know. But they can kind of keep it, but in its appropriate category. But instead, no, you get, I'm a motherfucking monster. And then again, dude in the passenger seat. What can I say about that? But anyway, I'm getting tired. That's all I want to say. That's my video. I know it was a lot. I'm jumping around all over the place, but that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Oh, I forgot to say, like and subscribe. Somebody was getting on my ass about saying, you're like, yo, you'll be bigger if you say like and subscribe at the end of it. Yes, I know about the, all that crap about, that increases the engagement and everything. Like and subscribe. I don't want to have to say that after every video. If you're listening to me, or the people that end up coming, like, you should, like, shit I want to listen to, I like and subscribe. I don't understand people. But yeah, all that psychology bullshit, all that crap about, you have to tell people and remind people. And I'm like, man, like, people are such followers. And I'm like, that's why people are so easy to finesse and manipulate and everything else. You know what I mean? I'm saying to myself, I'm like, damn, I should have been a banker or something like that. You know what I mean? Or something else. You know what I mean? Because, I don't know. I got too much of a conscience, but it's fucked up. Cap's got an interesting story about, when one of his family friends or relatives got finessed by a car dealer into buying a car that she couldn't afford. And it's like, yeah, there's people out here that, they'll take full advantage and like, man, it's not illegal. That was his response because Cap went back up to the dealership it was him and some other male family members, and they dug in that car dealer's ass about it. And, at first he was all nice and, but then when Cap really started, drilling him and hitting him with that cat food, his whole attitude changed and he started getting loud and whatnot. It's not illegal. What I mean? Like, it's like you finessed her. It was on some, first time buyer GM bullshit. She got into like a Camaro and that she couldn't afford, so, and, again, this is how you think people got screwed over in the housing market. So, this is why it's important for people to think and not just follow. But, again, that rolls right into what I always say about religion. But, okay, this is it. I'm done. All right. That's my video. SWP out.